Hi, good morning, Stuff of Nonsense classes, lesson 31. And I'm also have a little lesson on the kind of gruesome but interesting subject of death. And I want to review the project one more time. And that's for students who I affectionately think of as Bobos, who are writing to me and asking me questions, even though I've been doing this on YouTube all along. Anyway, I'll do it one more time. But first, some thoughts about death related to Alice. Okay, first thing I want to say is that, well, we all know that, like, we're all going to end up dead. It's a little depressing, but it's true. And in a way, it's not so depressing. And I'll tell you why I think that. But first, let's think about Alice and kids. So children are very curious about death. And in some ways, they're more sort of open to talking about it than we are when we get older. And, maybe when we get very old, we start to really face it again. And something like the pandemic has forced us to look at it, especially if you have people around you who are sick or perhaps even have died, which, it's touching us. But kids aren't, they don't shy away from the topic. It's more that as I think we get into sort of the busy parts of life that we just almost pretend it doesn't happen. But that thing about the curiosity about death is important. And remember about, curiouser and curiouser. Alice is curious. And there are many, many references to death in the book. So I'll just a few, okay? When she worries early on that I'll go out together like a candle, she says when she's shrinking. And what should I be like then? So there, Alice is really wondering about the nature of death. And I don't know about you, but I remember when I was a kid, I used to wonder about it a lot too. Like, what happens? Like, what happens to us, right? So Alice seems to be grappling with that question. Oh, you'll be happy to know that I read children who think about death tend to be more intelligent. So hopefully you're all going, oh yeah, when I was a kid, I thought about it nonstop, like Miss Polak. Anyway, of course, all the threats, off with their heads, because if you're beheaded, you're dead, right? So there's Alice's experience with the puppy. When she's for the first time threatened with death, the way she scares the other animals early on in the book, when she says, Dinah is a great one for catching mice or birds, and, she'll eat a little bird as soon as she sees it. So there's, again, that sense that death is present. And death in the food chain is just part of what happens, right? Creatures are eaten by other creatures, and that's what makes the food chain possible. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is that death is part of life. And, I always try to spin things in a happy way. If we lived forever, we might not have the same sense of urgency that what are we going to do with our lives, right? You could go, okay, big deal, pandemic. I can sit around for a few years. Who worries about stuff and nonsense? But no, it's no, we have a certain amount of time. We want to graduate from CEGEP. I want to have my students pass the semester. We want to make the most of the time that we have. And in a way, that's what death does. It makes everything so valuable, right? So our time on earth is valuable, and how we spend it matters. And I don't think Lewis Carroll would tell you need to be productive every single second like the busy bee, right? Yeah, do your work. And I'm going to talk about the project in a minute. But, sometimes you need to glide, like in that opening poem. Full leisurely we glide. And the word leisure is important also. So sometimes just to look out the window, look at the magnolia trees are blooming last week, this week. Now you see these forsythia trees. They're yellow. They're gorgeous. I have a little one in my backyard. Take it all in, okay? Because time is precious and our lives are precious. Okay, speaking of precious, your project. Okay, you know who this is for. I'm not mentioning you by name. The student who sends me more Mayos than anybody else, asking me questions, which I've already gone over on YouTube. Here you go, because I like all of you, even the frequent Mayoers. Okay. Here's what you need to do. You need to create nonsense. So that is dedicated to the same student who said, oh, I just look up a photo online and send it to you as my project. No, you have to make something and send me a photo of it. Okay, make something. It can be a story. It can be a little video, something that won't crash my computer. I'll have to kill you. Speaking of death, Okay, it can be a piece of art. It can be maybe a photo of something. It can be a little story. Anything you want, but it has to be nonsensical. It has to be zany. Think about the themes we've been talking about, right? All my YouTube work with you guys out there, right? So reversals, the world of dreams, like pleasurable play. Have fun with it. Give me something zany. It'll be good for you to do. Okay, so A, create the nonsense. That's the first part of the project. I want one Maya with both pieces. So I want to see a file that opens where I'm going to see what your project is, story, video, whatever, okay? Video that does not crash my computer. Have you all got that? Second, I want a mini essay. Look, I'm doing those in quotation marks because, guys, it's not really an essay this time. It's easy because I'm giving you a break and there's a pandemic. Okay, so it is due on the 22nd, which is next Friday. You can have till midnight. Oh, a new rule. Don't write to me the day of the 22nd with questions. You can write to me till the 21st at 5 p.m. Then I'm out. 22nd, I'm having a day of repose, or the ones that come in early, I'm going to start marking. I'll get your marking done within the week. So by the following Friday at 5, I hope to have everything posted. Tomorrow's the last YouTube. Okay, now, your mini essay, what's in it? Okay. Paragraph 1, okay? You all look at your thing, so I'll know what it is. In paragraph 1, you say, what are the name one Freudian technique. I suppose in paragraph 1, you should explain what your project is. Okay, we'll use the cookie toilet. I gave you the example. A student did a cookie toilet. My project uses a technique Freud called unification. Then a one-sentence quote on whatever he said about unification, and then explain how. My project unifies food, dessert, and toilets, okay, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, second paragraph, a Freudian purpose. And someone asked me about this yesterday, so that's why I'm using the same example. Okay, my project expresses a purpose of hostility, and maybe it has something to do, then I'm trying to come up with something the student might say, a quote from Freud. Okay, so first paragraph, quote on technique, the example, how it works in your project. Second paragraph, purpose, quote from Freud, what the purpose is, hostility, what he says about that, and then explain in your project. Maybe I'm hostile because I love eating cookies and I'm afraid I'll get fat. And every time I eat a cookie, the unification is that it's going to end up as feces, and that's what the toilet has to do with it. Okay. Third paragraph is a link to Alice. Okay. Find a link and take one quote from the Alice book. And in that paragraph, I want you to explain the link to Alice. So maybe this is about food and growth, which is one of the main themes in Alice. Pick an example. And the last paragraph is a bit open-ended, but it's what you learned, either from doing the project, what you learned about nonsense from doing the project, how you felt doing the project. It was a great relief, from all the other, kinds of work that you had at the end of the semester, or it was frustrating and you decided you are not creative. Hopefully that's not the case because we're all creative. Okay, I'm even giving you a break. No works cited page. That is very, very bad, and shame on me for doing that. But I'll just take the 4 paragraphs. You've done the works cited page for the other project, the joke analysis. So that's pretty darn good, don't you think? All right. Okay. So one more YouTube from me tomorrow. I don't know what I'll talk about. Maybe I'll just say a little goodbye to you. It'll be the last YouTube of the semester. And I think I'll be a little sad without, because I feel like, I don't see your faces, but I feel like a bit of a connection through this YouTube business. Okay. Good luck with the projects. Due on the 22nd, midnight. No messages to me on the 22nd. I'm not helping you on the very last day. I will help you till the 21st at 5 p.m. Ciao, ciao. Have a good, oh no, it's not have a good weekend yet. I guess you can see I'm looking forward to it. Bye.